Good Moxie morning. I am here this morning to talk to you about something what I feel like is one of the most powerful things for entrepreneurs to understand, to know, to embrace, and then to break through, and that is your excuses. Excuses are literally like if you've got to be stronger than your excuses to strive for anything new. You just have to. But I think, and maybe you've heard this before, that being a successful entrepreneur forces you, it literally forces you to look at your excuses, which are linked to your limitations, which is linked to your belief system. It's linked, like, to be a successful entrepreneur, you are literally forced to overcome yourself and your limitations. And this is why it's hard. So I was talking to a client the other day, and she was admitting, she had her first $17,000 a month, in her business that she in the first 30 days of working with me. Hi, Deborah. But she has admitted, she's been at it for several months now, and she's admitted that it's not that hard. So some of the things that I've been teaching her and that she's been implementing has not been really that hard. Isn't that interesting how we feel like that it is, right? When we're introduced to something new, we feel like it's so hard. And then after we've accomplished it or we've mastered a certain skill, we look at it and go, literally with every skill that you build upon and you master, you literally become a different person. You become a different person. And that is what's hard. Becoming that other person. So there's so much power in this statement that I'm about to make. So listen to this. There's so much power in this. And the statement is, when you feel like you are up against this big struggle or this, this is really hard, you got to step back and ask yourself, who do I have to be to make this happen? Who do I have to be? Who am I not being? Who do I need to step into? It's not necessarily what needs to be accomplished or what task you need to actually go and force yourself to do. Yes, you need to take action, but who do you have to be to get over the excuses? So we've all got excuses, and we've all got coping mechanisms that we've created for ourselves for those excuses. So not only are many of us very creative with our excuses, but we'll protect those excuses as well. So we've got the excuse with that, we've been creative about the excuse. We've held on to the excuse for years. It is literally part of us. And then to top it off, we protect the excuses. We actually make excuses and get creative with the excuses to protect the other excuses. So we're like layers of excuses. That's why this journey is so hard. And I'm here to tell you, it is not the online technical stuff that is the hardest. You know what the hardest is? Well, I've said it many, many times here in many ways. The hardest is being seen. That's what it is. So we create a lot of excuses to hide being seen in a lot of ways. Okay, so I was listening to, I haven't listened to the whole thing yet, but I was listening to, give you an example of protecting our excuses. Oh my God, where would I begin with me? I'll use me. I'll get vulnerable here and share some of my excuses. Okay, so as I've been building my business, I've started and stopped many times. Some of it is because I didn't like a product, or I didn't feel like that it was working, so I wanted to switch it up. But in why I've started and stopped, in the little excuses that I just gave you, okay, those were examples right there, like that. Oh, I just didn't feel like it. Or here's a really big one for me. I used my kids as an excuse out of fear. So there were many times that I would start to gain more clients and start to build, and I would feel like it was taking my attention off of my kids. And I couldn't see myself being able to manage both. And some of so guilt, there was some guilt there, okay? And that I'd find myself doing this, like there was this guilt thing. And so am I putting my business in front of my kids? No, my business is for my kids, right? Like this is why I'm able to stay home. But there was a little bit of guilt. So, and some of it could be like legitimate, okay, but really so I would make up excuses. Excuses as this product is shit. Or this is never gonna work. What am I thinking? Like how did I ever think, this is an excuse that I'm saying in my mind, that we never really let ourselves say out loud, but I'm letting it all hang out today. But I've caught myself, over the years as I'm building my business, like, why did I think I was going to be able to handle this, right? It sounds very similar to the excuse, like when it gets hard, right? When you feel like it gets hard, like when I was in labor, and I've shared that moment where it's like the ring of fire, and I say to myself, what was I thinking? Why did I think I could handle this? So we start, that old self-doubt starts creeping back up. All that crap, all the self-doubt, even things that you have said to yourself since you were a little girl, or a little boy. It's like childhood crap many times. And sometimes it was maybe even a belief that someone kind of put in your head, or you perceived something a certain way as a kid and you've carried it with you. And so every time now you move forward and you do something hard or do something new, all of a sudden that little voice says, you're crap. You're crap. Or remember how people reacted to you years ago when you stepped out? The same thing is going to happen. So then you pull back and you start making excuses. And the real reason is that you are afraid, okay, of being seen. And so you've really just got to ask yourself, and being aware of this, and me being aware of it, and me looking at my excuses has made all the difference. So I was listening to Mel Robbins' audio, her book on audio called Kick Ass. I don't know if you've heard of it. I don't know if you know who Mel Robbins is, but if you do, check her out. And so what's great about this book, Kick Ass, it's not just another self-development book, because we've all read them, right, a million times. But and if you know who she is, I think she's got 2 or 3 books, but this one is different. This book, Kick Ass, is different because it's actually her coaching people. So it's something that I have been suggesting to my clients to do, and then I came across this book, and I'm like, Mel is doing what I just suggested to my clients to do, and that is to put some of your clients, if you're a life coach, for instance, or any kind of coach or consultant, put your client or even prospect on and of course they have to agree to this, right? But coach them live or coach them and record it. Watch yourself and then use it as marketing. Obviously, you would never do that without their permission. But my point is that in this book, Kick Ass, you can hear her coaching people. And she goes deep, and I've only listened to, I think, her coaching 3 people on it so far. And I don't know, I think there's several more hours. But it's revealing. It's revealing in that we all have excuses as to why we stay at a certain level. It's one thing, like in my book, for instance, I talk about the experience of rising and being and feeling stuck, the experience of us having a set point with our income, right? Or a set point of what we think that we can do. And it is literally like a thermostat where it's set at a certain point, set at a certain temperature, set at a certain degree in terms of money or accomplishment. Now, what do we have to do to a thermostat to get to the next level? We have to switch it. We have to do something and manipulate it some way, right? Well, it's not as easy. We're not a thermostat where we flip a switch, right? So we've actually got to go deep and start to understand and become aware of ourselves, and we have to be willing to take the blame. Like, take all the blame with our excuses, meaning we have to look at our excuses, what they are. And so in this book, that's what she does. She talks about that. So she's coaching people, and she's going deep with, where they want to be, what's stopping them, and she's helping them see it, because we can always see someone else's problem, not always, but many times it's very easy to see someone else's issue, but not our own. Right? And a lot of times it's because we're so busy with our excuses. We're so busy making up excuses as to why we can't achieve something. It's not the right time. I don't have the right money to invest in a coach. I don't know how to do it. Well, if you don't know how to do it, go find out how to do it. But sitting there saying you don't know how to do it is never going to get you there, right? Saying that you can't afford a coach when many times, putting things into perspective is big. Like, if you say you can't afford a coach, then look at your expenses and what you've spent on yourself or whatever over the last 60 to 90 days. And you'll find the money, it's there. You spent it on something else. You just didn't spend it on yourself. And so those excuses of spending money on something else, well, I needed that. Well, no, you need coaching, or you need to get to the next level because that's what you want, but you don't put that as a priority. Instead, you make excuses. And I'm telling you, it's linked to not being afraid to be seen, because as a business owner, you have to be seen in a lot of ways. You don't have to do live video. That's not necessarily what I'm saying, but it's very helpful. But most business owners that are successful put themselves on a commercial, don't they? They become the face of their business. They have to get out there and be seen. They have to deal with the public. They have to get in front of prospects. They have to go deep with what it is, what benefit that their business accomplishes for people. And that requires being seen. Okay? Marketing requires being seen. And I'm here to tell you, one of the only ways to make a lot of money in this country, when I say a lot of money, I mean to be successful is to start a business and have a successful business. There's real estate, but real estate investing, that's a business. And again, you got to put yourself out there and be seen and put yourself in a lot of situations where rejection is a part of it, okay? So think about all of your excuses. What excuse do you have today for not starting and not doing what you want to do? Or at least doing the things that you need to do to get what you want. What are your excuses? I'm telling you, you probably got 100. We all do. We all do. So what is yours? And so it was interesting to listen to her coach somebody, and she took it in a direction I didn't expect, and that was a gal that was overweight. And so in this coaching session, she starts coaching somebody that was overweight, and I had never, like in a million years, thought of it this way. I always thought there are many reasons why people keep weight on them, right? Well, this particular gal, Mel, took her in a direction of that she was a narcissist. And I was like, what? Where? What? And that she was, and all situations are different. I'm not saying that, all people that are overweight are narcissists. That's not at all what I'm saying. But this particular person that she was speaking with, she pulled that from her as she was talking. That because she was a singer, for instance, and she says, no, you like attention. Because this gal was saying, I'm hiding. I don't want to be big anymore. I don't want this weight on me anymore, but I don't know how to stop eating or whatever, and staying at that weight. And Mel said to her, no, you actually like attention because you're a singer. Admit it. You love attention. And I was like, well, she's taking this in a direction I wasn't expecting. And then she actually used the word fat, so she was disruptive to get her attention. And she says, you are overweight and fat because you want to be, because that's the only way that you've been able to get attention. And you've been getting attention, you've been wanting to get attention your whole life, and this is the only way you've been able to do it. And she also, was able to pinpoint that she was pissed because she wasn't getting attention. And so there was this rebellious streak of her, like, I'm going to eat whatever I want to get as big as I want, and screw you all, and I'm going to get attention this way. And I really honestly had never even thought in that way, like, where'd that come from? And gave me a new perspective on that. Okay, so when I say on that, I mean weight loss and weight in general, and some of the things that we do to get attention, some of the things that we do to get comfort, to seek comfort. And it's not just, hand mouth, that was stopping her, or that was getting her attention or comforting her. Sometimes it is, we're seeking comfort in a lot of different ways. Sometimes it can be a person, like if a person's enabling you. Mothers are the worst, I'll admit. I sometimes wonder if, I'm enabling, and I'm sure if you're a mother watching this goes through your mind too. Like, am I enabling them? Should I push them? What? It's like so hard, right? But all of us, so if we're just look at ourselves right now, like, what excuses do you have going on right now that's keeping you? I'm telling you, you've got a lot of them, we all do, but there are some that maybe you can't even see. So do something after you've done some thinking and become self-aware of your actions. Good example. If you want something and you're not taking the steps towards it every day, you're not doing something every day to get that, uncomfortable actions every day to get to that level, then you're making up excuses. So watch yourself every day, watch your actions. Are the actions you're taking every day getting you to where you want? Okay, so if you want to reach a certain goal weight, if you want to get in peak performance with your fitness, are you doing something every single day? Are you working out every single day? At least, are you doing something? Are you doing more action than sitting, at your computer or laying on the couch? There was a guy that she coached that admitted that he had been laying on his couch too much, and during the day, and got to the point where he was living with his mom and doing that. See, isn't that interesting? Going back to the mom, right? That will let that behavior continue. So these excuses come in many forms, and not just with weight, and not just with holding on to the weight. They come in many forms, and anytime you're moving towards something that you want, which, by the way, a successful business is one of the hardest things. I know it is. It's one of the hardest things to strive for, and you have to get past the excuses. So you've got to be stronger than your excuses, and that means the first step is to actually acknowledge that they exist, okay, and that they are excuses, because sometimes excuses actually become such a part of us that they are a deep-rooted belief, right? Like a deep-rooted belief can actually, from the outside, we see it in you possibly as an excuse, right? But it's a deep-rooted belief in you, and you will protect that excuse or that belief with all that you have, with all that you have. And so here's the thing, you've got to face it. Like, face that it's there. What's the excuse that's keeping you from taking action? Like, what the hell is it? Okay, are you seeking comfort? Do you feel like you're going to lose out on something? Is mom not going to like what you're doing, right? I heard somebody say something so powerful one day, and I was like, wow. Don't know who it was, but it doesn't necessarily matter. What they said is, it was somebody coaching somebody actually, and she says, who has to die in your life before you actually do this? Like, who is it that has to die? And I was like, what? It's crazy, right? But think about it. Like, there is someone even possibly in our life that we're holding ourselves back, and we're not moving forward because there might just be one person, whether it's in our family, whether it's somebody that we are using as an excuse, or we're holding ourselves back because of what that person will think. It could be a group of people, could be several people, could be an entire crowd of people in our life that we are using as an excuse and keeping our, or that we don't even realize that we're using as an excuse, right? Because we just don't want to be seen. We don't want to find out that they weren't a close friend after all. We don't want to find out that we don't want them to leave us, possibly. Whatever it is, there's something there, and we don't want to be seen, okay? Or we don't want that person or this group of people to see us doing something. And so, there was a quote that really did affect me, because and it was about 10 to 12 years ago that I heard it. And I'm going to use it right now, because it's something to really think about, to help you get past this whole being seen in front of people that, will judge you. And it goes like this: stop giving respect to the people, stop wanting respect from people that you don't necessarily respect. So how many people in your life are you hiding from, or you're letting control your actions, you're letting these people hold you back, but you don't necessarily respect them? There are people. You can write them down today. Like, there are people that you care about what they think, but yet you don't necessarily respect them. So what I'm saying is, and how the quote went exactly is, only desire respect from those that you respect, okay? And that's a good measure. It's a really good measure. So be stronger than your excuses. A lot easier said than done. And here's the thing. Most people, you've probably heard it before, most people can't get to the next level without help. Without help from somebody, a coach, or somebody that is helping them and seeing them from the outside. And that coach or whoever that is will see things that you can't see and you haven't seen for years. And then the obstacle or the thing that you're going to have to do is to listen. You're going to have to listen and go, oh. And you know what? One of the, and things will change when you accept what they're telling you. When I say accept, when you start to take advice, or when you start to listen to like a coach or someone that is telling you something for a reason, like to help you get forward, to move forward, and you start to listen to that with an open mind and not be defensive, like that's a sign that you're on your way. So really ask yourself, how often do you get defensive? Like defensiveness is proof that you've got excuses. So if you have excuses that now you don't even realize they're excuses because there's such a deep-rooted belief, and somebody points them out to you, you get a coach and they point that out to you and they help you overcome that, you've got to be willing to overcome that, right? And when you are willing to see it for what it really is, let it sink in without being defensive, you're on your way. And you're going to be doing this on your journey the whole way. This letting go of defensiveness, starting to see things for what they are. When I say things, I mean obstacles. Most of the obstacles are fake. And some of them will dissipate like quickly. And some of them you'll really have to go, I'm not sure if I want to let go of this one. Right? I want to hold on to this excuse for a while. But here's the thing, holding on to some of these excuses will actually take years off your life. They actually turn into stress and anxiety, and they don't let you move forward. You'll stay stuck. And I'm here to tell you, staying stuck will make you fat. Just kidding. I've seen it in my life. Staying stuck will affect everything in not a good way. Not a good way. And there's nothing wrong with retreating, right? And assessing, okay, where do I really want to go? But if you are using that time to retreat, like to pull back for a little bit and rethink some things, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're using that time to go, okay, before I make another move, I'm going to get a coach to help me understand myself so that the whole starting and stopping like stops. Because every time you start and stop, you're stopping for a reason, and most likely there's an excuse there, or you're hiding and you're not wanting to be seen, and it scared the shit out of you. Like you stepped out and it scared the shit out of you, and then you pulled back again. And you killed your confidence, and then you stepped out a little, and you tried another idea, thinking, oh, this is the answer. And then you stopped again because it scared the shit out of you, and then you pulled back, right? And you killed your confidence even more. And you did it again, and this is a pattern, and you're just killing your confidence. Now you've created a lot of excuses. Well, that didn't work because of that. That didn't work because nobody wanted to buy it. That didn't work because I had the wrong designer and it looked like shit. All of these were all excuses. No, you actually stopped because you cared what people thought, right? I had a VA that pissed me off, like, whoo. She literally, I had an experience with a VA. I have always had really good experiences with, and VA is a virtual assistant, with this gal was psychotic. I gotta be like really honest, and I didn't know, like I didn't see it coming, and she did this weird thing, and I was like, what's happening? Have you ever had experience with someone like that? And you're like, where'd this come from? Like, what's going on? And I let it interfere with me trusting people moving forward. I let it interfere because I no longer trusted and started thinking that was like so painful to go through what she just did to me. Like making up things online about me. And I was just like, she doesn't even know who I am. I'd only known her for 60 days. What the hell? And everything seemed fine. And then she did this 180 on me. And, wow, I don't know if I trust anyone anymore, right? So I used that as an excuse. So yeah, there was an element of I needed to like retreat for a while. But I also felt like I screwed up in such a big way by misjudging. I didn't judge. I think I've always felt like I was a good judge of character. But when somebody does that, you're like, wow, like I don't know people like I thought I did. And I started kind of using, like, I started in with the old patterns. We kind of all do this, and to some degree, the old patterns of, like, I started beating myself up about it. Like, if I didn't see that coming, so there was some anger. So a lot of times we'll be angry, and we won't step back into the ring, or whatever you want to call it, because we're angry at ourselves, or we're angry at the situation, but we're only hurting ourselves. We're only hurting ourselves. So retreating is fine. Retreating for too long and not, getting the help that you need to work through it, bad idea. Like, not getting the help. Did I say that right? Not getting the help. And it'll actually make you fat. It'll make you fat, meaning you'll literally start to hold in those feelings, and then you'll want to nurse the feelings, like food, drinking too much, whatever, cigarettes, whatever. And we do it in a lot of different ways. Maybe even Netflix, right? Watching Netflix, because Netflix is an escape and an addiction. Netflix knows that. It's an addiction. And so that's what addiction really is. It's like avoiding what you should be doing, right? Sex is an addiction. It's like, these are all great things. Glass of wine, that's a great thing. If you're using it as, here, and Mel talks about this too, where she'll say that we all are avoiding stress, because stress is uncomfortable, right? We're avoiding stress. So if we step out, we have this horrible experience, right? We will think that it's always going to feel like that, and it won't. Just like your first live stream. If you make a complete fool out of yourself, and it was like, oh my God, it's exactly what I thought was going to happen. I can't ever do that again. It's the worst thing you can do is not do it again. It's like the worst, because you'll stay there. And believe it or not, you're really not, there's really nothing you could do on a live stream to make that big of a fool out of yourself. I think most people in general can't get on a live stream. It looks like a lot of people are doing live streams. They're not. Not as many as you think. Most people can't do some of the things that entrepreneurs are doing anyway. So when you put yourself out there, you put people, they're forgiving, more forgiving than you ever thought they were, because they actually are just admiring the fact that you're doing it at all in a lot of ways. So keep that in mind, and then just be bigger than your excuses, be stronger than your excuses, and know that the first few times you try something, you are going to want to step back. That's why you got to get someone around you. You've got to prepare yourself for that. And if you're one that has a lifetime pattern of that behavior, don't go at it alone. Don't go at it alone, right? I would, and you know what, you can just join a free Facebook group if you have to. I'm not telling you to go spend a wad of money that, that would be scary, because that experience sometimes also holds people back. It's like they have this bad experience with a coach, they got nowhere, and but really assess and look at what happened and take some responsibility for what possibly happened, and that will be the first healthy steps with trusting a coach. Just like I had troubles with trusting in a new VA and starting over with some things, some people have that experience with a coach. And the thing is that you get something out of everything. You get something out of everything, good or bad. So you walked away with an experience that you can either learn from, or you learn from in a good way or a bad way, right? But you got to get over the defensiveness. So defensiveness and excuses, they're linked. They're very linked. Who likes a defensive person that jumps to conclusions, or that takes things too personally, or that takes things personally all the time? You just want to run from those people. And then so really look at yourself and go, when do I get defensive? When do I, Obviously, you don't want to be around somebody that's running you down all the time. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying endure it. But at the same time, don't get defensive. Let it roll off your shoulder like water off a duck's back, right? And just do the things necessary. And keep being around talk like this. When I say that will keep you in the zone. Yeah, they're draining. They're vampires. Emotional vampires. Hey, and you know what? I think we don't realize it, but we all have been a vampire of some kind to someone else. I'm sure I have. I just thought of one situation that I don't want to share. We all have. But it's like we don't necessarily see it, right, until they're doing it to us. And then we go, ooh, yeah, I would never want to be like that, right? And then we realize that maybe we have, or that maybe we are being like that to someone else. So it all goes back to us, like point the finger in the direction of yourself and go, okay, I need to look at myself. I need to understand what my excuses are and realize that that's what they are. They're excuses that possibly, if you've carried them around for a lifetime, are now actually limiting, or beliefs, like deep-rooted limiting beliefs. And they're limiting you, and most of them are just stupid. Like, when somebody spells it out for you and you start to understand it, you'll actually feel a little silly, but then move on, because we're all human, right? Okay, I hope that this helped. If you are interested in high ticket mastery, or by the way, my 6-week program is starting. I'm probably going to put a little extension on it, because yesterday I spent a little bit too much time with my kids. When I say too much, I mean, more time than I thought. And yesterday was a little disruptive, but I have a 6-week program. It's called, hi Kimberly. It's called Rich, Bliss, and Moxie. It's 6 weeks, and we're going to go over some of what I'm sharing, as well as what I am going to extend is throughout today is 1 month free of High Ticket Mastery, which is a year program, but you get 1 month free if you join Rich, Bliss, and Moxie. And the Rich, Bliss, and Moxie, that's hard to say, is actually going to be going over the consistency part, the habit part, looking at ourselves, becoming self-aware, pointing out what our excuses are, and I'm going to give you some really, really super high-value tips. They're not just tips. They're actually proven methods that will actually take some of the pain out of looking at yourself. Like, take some of the pain out of looking at yourself. So I'm going to give you some exercises over a period. It's 6 weeks, but over the period of the first week, you're going to have some exercises to start changing your mindset in this very, very specific way, with some exercises that will actually help you'll start manifesting. You'll start seeing things differently. You'll start manifesting things. That'll be up to you. I'm going to leave that up to you. It's really fun experience, and once you start seeing it and feeling it happening, you'll be able to start moving forward with some of the things in High Ticket Mastery, like putting yourself out there, learning new marketing techniques, implementing things that seem big but really aren't. They're just your excuses in your mind. So let's get over some of the excuses. It's going to take about the program is 6 weeks. It shouldn't take you, everybody's on a different level. It shouldn't take you 6 weeks to start implementing, but we're going to work on the mindset stuff and the implementing, because they go hand in hand. There's a reason why you can't implement, and it's all in your mind, and we're going to break past some of that. So Rich, Bliss, Moxie, it's 6 weeks long. It actually started today. If you're interested, private message me, and then I'll tell you how to get access to that, and you get, throughout today, you get 1 month of High Ticket Mastery, okay? And by the way, it's $497. That's it. And it's a value of about, I think $3,000 is what I wrote down in terms of value, because I broke down what I charge for 1 month of High Ticket Mastery, and then this program. So it's kind of outrageous, but I really want to start helping people with their mindset before they start High Ticket Mastery. It's really important to get your head in the game and understand yourself, and then it's so much easier. You'll implement so much faster, and it's so much easier. But in High Ticket Mastery, for instance, we focus on some of the most important pieces. Make money as fast as you can, okay? It's one of the goals. But in doing that, you are forced to put an actual offer together. Most people don't know what an offer is, what it should look like, what it is that they're even selling. People really struggle with that. What are the benefits, and how do I put that in writing using hot copy? How do I do that? And how do I project energy? How do I say that? How do I stay consistent? All of those pieces. And then how do I build a list of leads? Because all of those things that I just shared with you is exactly how you're going to get to $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 months. And how I've been able to do it, I've been able to help others do it. Okay, but you've got to master these things that I'm referring to. The mindset, yes, definitely. But then you got to know how to put an offer together, how to talk to your audience, how to build a list of leads, and then how to write copy. And basically launch a program. Okay, message me if you're interested. Bye. Have a great day, everybody.